Hi everyone. I'm going to do my chapter 5 video. Chapter 5 had us focus on creating a positive learning climate in our school. And I know part of our focus questions were to talk about cyberbullying and violent video games. And as I started to do my research, things seemed to start for me in about 1999 with the Columbine shooting. And it really talked about the research since that year of 1999 up until where we are today in 2017, that school violence really is on the decline. And I know sometimes as educators, I find myself thinking, gosh, it seems like there's more school shootings now than there ever used to be. And I think I blame the media probably for that. And it just is like all encompassing. It's always in the news. It's always being brought back up. Um, but really, the research and the articles that I read from 1999 up until today, they really do show. It does really show that really aggressive school violence is on the decline from that time period. So that's great news. I think part of the reason for that um, is kind of two things. They talked about, and some of the articles I read talked about like hard programs and soft programs that were developed from that time. Hard programs being things like schools really taking a hard look at their crisis team and their plans and procedures in case a situation like this would arise in their own building. What sorts of things have they practiced a lockdown drill? Do they know how to evacuate? All of those sorts of things. Schools have put metal detectors in and locker searches and maybe school resource officers, those sorts of things. But they also talked a lot about soft programs, which kind of starts from maybe your counselor starting to teach things like conflict resolution and anger management and what to do in stressful situations. And I really do believe that those sorts of programs have helped make the biggest impact in maybe that decline in school violence. I think that, we have to take that proactive approach. We need to teach our kids how to handle themselves in these situations. Or if we see that they don't have great anger management skills, what sorts of resources, either at school or resources outside of the school and the community, can help this child and this family um, provide some guidance and help facilitate those children so they're able to develop some of the skills that they need to handle stressful situations. But I really think, too, a huge piece to this puzzle is teachers building positive relationships with the students in their classrooms. And I think that's where it all starts. It's not enough for a teacher to stand in the front of the building or in front of the classroom and teach a math lesson. If you want to see a student's full potential, you have to take the time from day one to build that positive relationship with those students so that when they are struggling with home life or friends or whatever, that you can recognize that and help them work through that process. So I think that relationship building piece is so critical um, in teaching our kids and helping our kids work through some pretty tough situations. I did a little bit of investigating about violent video games and how that impacts, and really there wasn't any hard and fast data about that connection. I think it, maybe encourages some aggressive behavior in kids, but I'm not sure there's a strong correlation between school shootings and big violence in schools and students that play those games. Cyberbullying is a huge struggle in a lot of our schools. Social media has not made it easy on any of us. But again, I think if we're teaching kids how to handle that conflict and anger management and those sorts of things, it will also help in that bullying aspect. Um, Part of my video, in just a little bit, I'm going to stop talking and I have some clips I want to show you. Our high school principal and I, back in October, he was asked to moderate a Ed chat on Twitter. And through our discussion, we thought it would be a great idea to talk about building positive relationships with kids. And so we we looked at our student population, which is a really small school. Um, but what sorts of relationships have we built with our kids? Because even in a small school, we have students that have struggles, and sometimes I think our teachers don't remember that or don't see that or don't recognize it because it seems like this kid's coming into their room and performing great. But there's other things going on that teachers, if they were aware of, could step in and maybe provide some additional help and support and guidance. And so it's really about, as a teacher, reflecting on how can I build a relationship with each and every kiddo in our room. So I'm going to stop talking for a little bit, and I know this is going to make my video just a little bit longer, but I really do want you to hear from 4 of our students and take some time to process how would you build a relationship with these students.
My name is Jamie, and I'd say that school is pretty easy for me. I'm a straight A student. I feel pretty comfortable talking to my teachers when I have questions or I need anything. I'm involved in volleyball, basketball, track, National Honor Society, and FFA. I like school, but I say I'm pretty excited for my future too. My parents are divorced, and I live with my mom, and sometimes I just can't stand my dad. How are you going to build a relationship with me?
It's Taylor. School is pretty difficult for me. I have to study very hard, but I don't really have problems asking my teachers for help on anything. I'm involved in volleyball, basketball, track, speech, one act, and FFA. School is pretty okay for me, but I would like to move on to the next chapter of my life. When I was a freshman, my mother was passed away in a car accident. Since then, my father has very little contact with me, and I live in a foster home. How are you going to build a relationship with me?
I'm Dante. School comes pretty easy for me. Not much struggle. Don't have to study a ton, but studying still has to happen. I feel pretty comfortable approaching the teachers, talking to them, getting help from them when needed. I'm involved in FFA, band, choir, one act, speech, track. I don't mind school. I don't love it. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it's okay. I don't hate it either. It's just kind of a place that I come, got to get this done so I can move on to the next chapter of my life. I've been bullied since I was in 3rd grade. Been pushed around by kids, been told I wasn't good enough, wasn't going to do anything in my life. How are you going to build a relationship with me?
Okay, so I know watching those videos probably added a little bit more time to my assignment. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to those. But we felt like it was important. We showed these videos not only as part of that NEB Ed chat back in October, but we also shared it with our staff who actually work with these 4 students on a day-to-day basis. And we just wanted to really drive home that concept of just because we're in a small school and we think we know our students and our families well, we really don't know what happens to them once we walk outside of our school. Once they walk outside of our school, they have battles that none of us maybe even know that they're fighting. And I think that if we're going to help students reach their full potential, we need to be there for them. We need to understand what they're going through and show compassion. I also think it allows our teachers to potentially look for warning signs in our kids. And I just want to read just a few. It's like, is there a pattern of bullying? Are they fighting with friends? Are they talking about membership in a gang potentially? Do they appear like they aren't able to sleep? All of those things that I think it's important for teachers to be able to walk up to a student and say, hey, you just seem off today. Is there something you want to talk about? Those sorts of things. But I really think the first step in really being proactive against school violence is building strong relationships with kids. Yes, we need to have all these policies and procedures in place about what to do in the event that we do have an active shooter or a situation that comes up. But really, I think our job as teachers and administrators and mentors is to care about our kids, to listen to our kids, and to always be aware of maybe the things that they're going through in their lives. So anyway, that's kind of my wrap up for chapter 5. So I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you enjoyed listening to a few of our seniors, and I guess this is the end of chapter 5 for me. See you later.